problem with logical fallacies are that they're not based off from critical thinking. They're based on, compulsive or impulsive thinking and not really digging deeper. So that means, you hear something, it sounds good, and you kind of just run with it. You don't think about all the pieces and all the aspects and what makes it actually true. And so, when it comes to things that make us uncomfortable, we automatically side with the thought that makes us feel comfortable. And my thing is, okay, we're talking about Disney specifically, right? Disney having same-sex couples or marriages or having these people kiss or interact with each other in a suggestive way, which I read a lot of people saying in their comments, oh, it's very suggestive, it's this and that when it comes to sexuality. But in all actuality, every single Disney movie contains sexuality. Like, name one that doesn't. Like, I literally had to go check my own facts and make sure that my critical thinking was appropriate. And there's so many different ones, like Lion King, Pocahontas, the Hercules movie, Tangled, Aladdin, Cinderella, The Princess and the Frog. The Princess and the Frog has so many subliminal adult comments and kissing scenes that it's not even funny. Like, I know that y'all watch certain cartoons and movies and be like, yo, I watched this as a kid, like, that's not kid appropriate. And my thing is, if you are for sexuality, then let's talk about it. Let's talk about how much sexuality is actually in TV shows and movies. But don't just bring it up when it comes to homosexuality, because that's what specifically makes you uncomfortable. That's why you need to have your own personal conversation with your kids about what sexuality means. But when we're talking about Disney movies and we're trying to act like all of a sudden Disney is trying to include sexuality, that's a logical fallacy, because the basis of every movie is some prince and princess, some prince chasing some princess and saving her and kissing her, reviving her, saving her from a tower. Like, that's literally the storyline. And if that's not suggested, then I don't know what is. So that's my issue. I understand that, people don't want to expose their kids to homosexuality or whatever case may be. But, to each its own. Don't try to make it seem like, oh, you only feel this way. You don't have a problem with homosexuality. But when it comes to kids, you know what that sounds like to me? Do y'all remember a few years ago, there was a commercial, right? And in this commercial, it was a Cheerios commercial. There was a black dad, and there was a white mom, and there was an interracial child. And there was so much backlash for that commercial. Like, literally, people were writing to Cheerios saying, threatening things and harsh things and trying to get it pulled off the air. And their argument was, oh, I'm not racist. I just don't want people shoving interracial families down my kids' throats. Okay, you're not racist. Does that sound familiar? I'm not homophobic. I just don't want them shoving homosexuality down my kids. So you're basically saying you're not racist, but you have a problem with interracial dating. It's not for you. It's not for your family. It's not something you believe in. And, we're all entitled to have our beliefs. We're all entitled to, make our own personal decisions. But what is the premise for it? What is the basis? There's no non-racist way around it. I understand race and gender and sexuality is different, but I'm trying to get y'all to think about how y'all sound when you say I'm not racist, I'm not a homophobic. And sometimes it's hard to face that. We don't like labels. We don't like people attacking us and telling us we're being racist or telling us that we're being homophobic, telling us that we're homophobic. We don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I don't want to be labeled. And I can't even lie. A few years ago when I first seen the cartoon The Loud House, and there was a same-sex couple, there was two dads, and I was like, whoa, they're bringing this to TV shows, and it made me uncomfortable. The thing is, everybody has a certain idea about things or a certain piece of perception, and that doesn't mean they can't change. I learned, I grew, I challenged that cognitive distortion, because first of all, it made me uncomfortable because it was something different. It was something I never seen before. And I was still in that battle in my head, whether is this right or is this wrong? Does this influence kids? Does this not influence kids? But when you really think critically about it, thinking critically means looking at the facts, comparing things, thinking about things in different ways, listening to other people's opinions and experiences. And it's just like, even on that show, even though they had the two dads, the kid was a son, and the son was actively dating girls his age. And it's just like, it challenged the idea that, same-sex parents influence kids to also be gay or to be lesbian or whatever the case may be, which is not true. If anything, the kid already feels one type of way either towards a female or a male, and either they're going to get the support from their parents that say, hey, we're going to love you, we're going to accept you no matter who you are. Or they're going to feel like, no, I can't be that person. I can't make that decision because my parents will hate me and they won't love me, and neither will the world, and then they'll go the other way. Now, whether you agree with that is based on you. I think that people deserve love and to give love in any form that they feel necessary. If we are on this earth and we're put here to love people unconditionally and to be charitable in our tolerance for other people, and we also change people's lives based on how we love people and the love that we give, like literally, it doesn't matter if it's a male or a female. If I come into another woman's life and she comes into my life and she changed the dynamic of who I am and how I love and shows me unconditional love, and I give that back to her, and not only is it happening between me and her, it's happening around the people that we're around. It's causing us to fulfill our passions. It's causing us to be the best that we can be and to fulfill our purpose. Who are we to say, no, we're not going to accept ourselves, we're not going to do that, and then we turn into completely different people and never go down the path that we were supposed to go in? We never affect the people that we were supposed to affect. We never love the people that we were supposed to love. Now, who do you think you are to tell me that it's otherwise? No, I don't believe that. And I just went off on a tangent on that, but all I'm asking is that people think critically. Disney, every scene is a prince and a princess and people kissing and then subliminal jokes, and if you're gonna call out sexuality, you gotta call out all sexuality. You can't just call out homosexuality because it makes you uncomfortable. It's important for kids and other people, adults, whoever, to see representation. Like, how do you know that this child seeing whatever in this movie, whatever movie it is that everybody's talking about, doesn't make that child feel like, wow, my parents are like that, and I feel like I'm worthy. I feel like I can be accepted. I don't feel like I have to be ostracized. I don't feel like I have to hate myself or hate my parents because they don't fit the normal standards of society. Just like being black and seeing black Disney princesses or seeing, people of color in movies make us feel like we are a part of this society. We are worthy. We are lovable. We are acceptable. And we don't have to just be seen in a negative light, because at the end of the day, we are human. We are energetic beings connecting and affecting each other every second and every moment. And the labels are just things that people put on for a distraction. It gets in the way. So I need y'all to think a little more critically, okay? If we're going to call out sexuality, we're going to call out all of sexuality. We're not just going to call it out when it's convenient for us because it makes us uncomfortable, And that's all. That's all I have to say.